Welcome, this is Stacy from Butterfly Bake Shop, and we're live today with José Rolón of José Rólon Events. He's going to give us some wedding tips, tricks, and secrets on how to plan your perfect wedding.
I hope so.
You will. I have confidence. Thanks. So, how are you today? Good?
I'm good.
Great.
We're in the middle of winter and, we're doing what we can to stay cozy.
Okay, great. So we're going to start out with a couple of questions, and we're encouraging people to write in their questions. We can see them coming up live, and we'll ask you as they come up.
Awesome.
So, yeah. So the first question we have is, how did you become a planner? What dragged you into the industry?
Yeah, I think my story is pretty normal with maybe how other wedding planners became wedding planners. So I got married back in 2010, and I got married at the Foundry, which, as a lot of us know, it's considered to be one of the top 5-10 places to get married in New York City. And so I really enjoyed the process, and I was in transition, just trying to figure out my next move. And then I knew that if I worked there, I basically stalked the girls till they hired me. And so I knew if I worked there for a year, then I would be set to kind of launch and do whatever I'd like to do with my own business and see if it was something I was into. I ended up there for 2.5 years, and it was great. I mean, the wonderful thing about the Foundry is that you have a lot of amazing people that come through there, the best vendors, the best in the industry. So in those 2.5 years, I was really able to cultivate great relationships and really learn all the wonderful things of what to do and what not to do. So it was a great experience. And then it was time for me to launch my business, and it's been wonderful.
That's great, and we're actually at the Foundry today.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful venue, and I have seen some amazing pictures from here too. So, when I follow people on Instagram, I see a lot of great pictures.
Yeah.
So as an event planner or wedding planner, what is your style in planning weddings?
I mean, I think I get that question a lot. I would probably say, I try to have, one of my styles is just unexpected combinations. So you would, don't be afraid. And, if you're going into a modern space like Studio 450, for example, that's all white, don't be afraid to add a lot of vintage furniture just to make the place pop a bit and to warm it up as well. I think unexpected combinations, I'm always looking at. I do work in raw spaces quite a bit. And so for me, that's fun because, the sky's the limit as opposed to, something maybe in a hotel ballroom or, some of these other venues that aren't, that's not raw space.
Right, so
Yeah.
it makes it more personalized. You can personalize it more.
It does, yeah. I mean, you really can create whatever space you want from most of the raw spaces.
Okay, great. So, and now here we are at the beginning of 2017. What do you think is trending this year? What do you see as the big wedding trends of the year?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think what's trending is, I really think it's going to continue to be about color. I think it's a couple things. I think color is going to continue to pop. People aren't afraid of it anymore, which is really nice. And I think that also metallics are making quite the comeback. We saw rose gold do its thing. And I think that'll still trend in 2017, but I think people are going to be less afraid of metallics. I think you're seeing that even in dresses right now. So I think that's pretty incredible. I could tell you what hasn't been trending that I noticed in 2016, which is I've noticed that the naked cakes have started to feel insecure about their bodies, so they're kind of covering themselves up a little bit. And
you've noticed that too.
Yeah. So I think that's been really interesting, and I think people are just starting to do a little bit more, for example, a light coating, as opposed to just the naked cakes.
Right. We call it crumb coat.
Crumb coat.
So we sell a crumb coat cake.
See, you know.
Yeah, that would be very, yeah. And we also found a lot of pops of color, and instead of a lot of metallic in big bulk, sort of spotty color.
That's right.
Little touches of metallic, but not a big tier of metallic. Although some people still like that.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing that in cakes and again, like in dresses. I mean, you'll see like little specks, just accents of metallic everywhere, whether it's on the table or any other part of your wedding.
Right.
Yeah.
So actually we have Heidi who's asking a question.
Cool.
And she wants to know, so what do you enjoy most about planning people's weddings?
Heidi, that's a really good question. I think a lot of people think that I sort of got into this because of the planning. To be honest, I'm not, my close friends that may be watching know this, that I'm not organized by nature. It's actually a lot of work for me. But the part that I really love about the planning is truly just the one-on-one with the clients. You really, I mean, you spend a year, sometimes more, sometimes a little less, and it's really developing that relationship and seeing what works for them. And you do sort of serve as a bit of a therapist as well. And I have to tell you, and this is the God honest truth, which is, you know, I do 20 weddings a year. I cap off at 20, and I would say almost all of my couples I've had dinner, lunch, coffee with after they've gotten married, and some of them we're like family now. And that's the part I really love about planning a wedding, is just that relationship that you develop, and to be able to really execute on the day of. And you know, it is rewarding, and there's a bit of an ego boost when they come back and they say, you know, it was amazing, it was beyond. And that, you know, that feels good. It makes me realize that, you know, I'm on the right path.
Okay, great, thanks. So now Amanda sent in a question, and she said you were speaking about pops of color.
Yeah.
And she's asking what kinds of colors are there? Is it pastels? Is it bright colors?
Definitely not pastels. I think that we've moved away from pastels. I mean, you might see some of that a little bit in cakes, maybe, but it's all about the bold colors, jewel toned. You know, you're seeing deep purples come back, and ruby red. Those are the colors that yellows. Yellow's actually doing. Making a bit of a comeback as well. So yeah. Those are, you know, primary colors, bright, bold colors, but definitely not pastels.
Right, like we've been seeing a lot big pop of like dark, deep pinks. Like,
yeah, hot pink is in.
Yeah.
Magenta.
Exactly. So now you were talking about having organizational skills. What do you think is a skill besides organizational skills, I guess, that most wedding planners need to possess? Like, what can you name 3 that you think are really important?
I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily name 3, but I think wedding planners have a bad reputation for a good reason. I do think that some wedding planners have a bit of a godlike complex, and I think the thing that you absolutely need that a planner should possess is just to be relaxed and to be calm and to be able to really hold court when things come under pressure. And of course you wouldn't know that interviewing your planner, but they've got to be relaxed, and they have to be able to get along with, you know, not make it about them, and really be a type of planner that recognizes that putting on an event, it's a team effort. And hopefully you want a planner that has great relationships with other vendors, because, you know, that can go in any direction. When I used to work at the Foundry, I mean, I remember there were a few occasions where you would see the planner and the DJ and the caterer, they would all have different timelines, and that creates a bit of a shit show, right? And then there are other times where planners will just have, you have these vendors that work really well together, and then you have this planner walking right through the door barking orders. I mean, that's definitely not the planner that you want. And the other thing is, you have to, and I feel this way about photographers as well. I tell all my clients this. You want to meet your planner, you want to meet your photographer in person, because they could be an amazing planner, they could be an amazing photographer, but you have to genuinely like them, because this is the person, with a planner, this is the person you're going to be working with closely. With a photographer, you're going to be with that photographer more than your spouse, more than your partner, more than with the wedding planner. So and I would say the same advice for photographers. You want somebody who's a bit more even keel and not so aggressive. And
these are personal, intimate moments. So yeah, you want to make sure that the person that's sharing them with you like.
Yeah.
So I think that's really good advice. Actually, Betsy just sent you a shout out. She said that you're an amazing planner and people should contact you right away if they're getting married. So
thank you, Betsy. Yeah. I love you.
So now, somebody who thinks that I don't need a wedding planner, you know, I'm just going to do everything. My mother-in-law is going to take care of it or whatever. What would you say to them?
I mean, you're just going to shoot yourself in the foot, right? I mean, you don't want. I don't always believe that you need a full planner. I even don't always believe you need a partial planner, and maybe all you need is a day of, but you absolutely, at bare minimum, should have a day of planner. It's not something I offer anymore. I do full and partial, because I did find in my experience that day of was just, you know, similar and it was more work. But you have to have somebody on the day of, because what's going to happen is, you know, you're going to have your decor committee, right? And it's going to be your bridesmaids, and they might be okay with the setup, but then what's going to happen is they're going to be drunk by the end of the night, and when it comes time for breaking down, they're going to screw things up. You're going to get charges from the venue, and you know, it's just not. And you're naturally going to be stressed out with knowing that there's not a professional that's standing up for you, because you know. And the truth is, no matter what friend you may have on board, they don't have the relationships with the vendors. So that's really important, because you really want the vendors to feel comfortable going to a professional instead of, you know, Aunt Kate, right? Mm-hmm. So. And
also, I think that, you know, the people are at your party, they shouldn't be managing what's happening.
Absolutely.
Because they're going to, you know, like you said, they're going to be having whatever it is, drinking and having fun, and going to be missing the details.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's good advice, I agree. So, light? There goes the light. I don't know why.
It's all right.
Okay.
That's the beauty of fly. Right? Oh, there it is.
Went back on. Okay. Disco. All right. So those are good questions. What tasks do wedding planners actually do for their clients? You know, you mentioned coordinating vendors. I mean, take us through what a wedding planner does and what parts of the process.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing that you want to get a hold of is your budget, right? So that's something that a planner should take on immediately. We want to know what your budget is, and we want to be able to break that down. And once we have a breakdown of what that looks like, then we can start recommending the vendors that work within that budget. And I think also the planners will also do appointments with you, and also negotiating. Negotiating is really important. And I think that's another thing about not having a planner I think sometimes clients will get a little hesitant about hiring a planner or the cost of a planner. But the reality is you end up making half of that back, because whatever relationships your planners have and whatever they can negotiate, that ends up coming back to you, as opposed to, you know, you doing it on your own. You would not be able to, you know, necessarily negotiate. You can certainly negotiate, but I doubt you're going to get a better deal than, you know, if you have somebody in your corner that they already have a relationship with. And then you keep going through the wedding process and continue to just keep you organized. Our job is to make sure you're organized and to make sure that everything runs smoothly and seamlessly, and keep you on task, as well as, you know, I mean, obviously that's something we do, but we want to keep you organized as well moving forward. And then on the day of, it's a 16-hour day for us, so we want to make sure everything's running smoothly. Also, you want a planner that will look at your contracts as well. Some of these contracts can be, I mean, some of them are ghetto, right? I mean, some of them are like, you know, 2 paragraphs, some of them are 10 pages. I've seen, there's one venue, it's like 12 pages long. And you want somebody who's familiar with these contracts and to be able to strike things out. Like I know a band that in their contract they say, if we happen to lose, don't have the proper equipment or transportation breaks down, then we're not responsible.
Right.
And to me that's BS. It's like always have a plan B. So it's those things you want to pay attention to because then they get away with it.
Right. If the man doesn't show up because my car broke down.
My car broke down, right? Like they don't have an Uber account.
Yeah.
So,
right. Exactly.
So you always just want to make sure that you have somebody that's looking at all those contracts.
Right. Yeah. And I think also as you said about vendor relationships, which are important because sometimes we'll get a frantic call from a wedding planner. There was some emergency, whoever was supposed to be making the cake, couldn't make the cake, they got sick or whatever, and now it's the week of the wedding, and because we have a relationship with the event planner, the wedding planner, we're gonna go out of our way to make the cake where maybe if we couldn't fit it in, we would.
That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's important. So here's an interesting question. So tell us, have you ever had something super crazy? What's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you at a wedding?
I'm laughing because it's pretty extreme. But I did have a bride OD at her wedding. Without getting into too many details, because I don't want to get in trouble here, but this bride was pretty clear on that her guests were going to party hard, and it was something for me to pay attention to.
Right.
Fast forward, the ceremony happens, and the reception happens. It's successful. Dinner is great, and then she ends up breaking the glass, cutting her arm. She gets blood on her dress. I'm bandaging her up, and she's not even reacting to it. And I'm realizing that she's probably high herself. And so then I look around, and I'm realizing that there's really long lines in the bathrooms. And I'm like, oh my God, everybody's getting really messed up at this wedding.
Oh my gosh.
And I go out to talk to the doorman and say, listen, I need you to pay attention to the guests because people are getting really messed up. And as I walk in, I see the bride who is being put down from the chair down to the floor. She's foaming at the mouth.
Oh my God.
She's convulsing, eyes rolling the back of the head in front of their son. It was a really tragic situation.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I did what I needed to do. I called the ambulance, and for some crazy reason, 20 minutes later, she just comes running out. Woohoo, let's party. And
oh my gosh.
yeah, and I remember calling the couple on Monday because there really was a liability issue.
Sure.
And
for everyone involved.
yeah, and then the groom was like, José. He called me José. He's like, it was the best party we've ever had. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then the bride was like, yeah, it's like every other weekend in my house. It was the best party. Everybody keeps talking about it. So I was like, okay, but that absolutely hands down is the craziest thing that's ever happened.
That is crazy. I don't think I've ever heard anything like that before.
Yeah, it's nuts. And I'm being, believe it or not, there's so much more to the story, but I'm being
yeah. Well, so you have to have like the wedding planner secrets,
Yeah.
Can't give out everybody's secrets, really. Yeah. So when things like that happen, how do you stay motivated when they don't go as planned? When things go crazy like that, how do you pull it together?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's so much about being motivated, but I think again, it goes back to what I spoke about earlier. You just have to just be calm and just move through it and to be honest, like there's always things that's going to happen behind the scenes. And to be honest, there is part of me that kind of gets off on that a little bit because, that's why I'm there. And so
it's controlled chaos.
Yeah. And so if things go down, I feel good about being that person to be able to, calm things down a little bit. But you just have to be calm and chill, because the problem is if you're freaking out and if you're upset, then everybody else is going to be, right? It just sort of trickles down, and so you definitely don't want people to see that.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So now, we've heard a rumor that you, besides being this amazing event and wedding planner, that you have a pretty busy life yourself personally, that you have 3 kids. Is that true?
I do. I have 3 little ones, 3 and under.
Oh my God, 3 under 3?
3, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's crazy.
So how do you balance that with them?
A lot of hired help. It's expensive. But I have a really amazing support system, and that's really wonderful. Just like I put things in place for my own business, I do the same thing in my personal life. I think it's part of the reason why I do cap off at 20 weddings a year. Although that may seem like a lot for some people, it's essentially kind of like every other weekend, and so it allows me to. Family is important to me, so it allows me to give quality time to my kids for half of those weekends, but it also gives me that time with my clients, and a lot, my clients aren't a number, they are important to me,
right.
And so nobody gets neglected.
Mm-hmm.
That's so
So you said you're not that organization isn't your strongest suit, but
yeah.
I feel that it is.
I don't know. Yeah, I just what it is. It's like you just put things in place to make sure you are organized, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I have such a wonderful team, and Annie, who she's if it wasn't for her, I don't know what would go down. But her job is to keep me organized and to keep me ahead of the game, and so yeah, you just have to make sure you have those things in place. Whatever, I'm aware of my strengths and weaknesses, and whatever my weakness is, you just have to lift that up with something that will accommodate that.
Have a team of people who can, the things that either you don't do
Yeah,
well or don't like to do, that they like to do. So
yeah, it's always a trick. It's tricky when you own your own business, but once you get it down, you get it down.
So now, do you have more than one person on your team besides yourself, or are there?
I do. So I have Gloria, who's in the background, and she's new, and so I'm really excited to have her on board. And then I have more interns coming in as the season gets busy. And then also I do have 2 relationships that are built into José Rolón events. So one is for every couple that hires me, no matter what the package is, they automatically get 3 1.5-hour dance sessions for their first dance.
Oh, that's so smart. That's
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah, it's great because I think that I used to choreograph hip hop and salsa in college, and so for me, dance is, that's my happy place.
Right.
But the first dance is the one place where, outside of the ceremony, all eyes are on you, and where people are really focused. And I think it's like the couple doesn't necessarily want to do this side to side action. And also, I think, guests can be bored just watching that because they expect that. So I think if you get, if it's choreographed and it's interesting and it's entertaining. So I have a choreographer, Renardo D'Amico Grace, who's Juilliard trained. He's amazing. Love him. And he choreographs all my couples.
That's amazing.
So it's really wonderful. And then also, I have a relationship with New York Shaving Company. And so all of my grooms, because I like to pamper them too, because everybody forgets about them.
Yeah.
They get lost in the mix,
Sometimes,
right?
yeah.
So they get pampered. They get like an old school shave. They get a nice little package to take with them.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's like a little pampering for them too. So those are some relationships on top of my staff that are connected to José Rolón.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So you have a question from Nancy. This is, I think, career advice, perhaps.
Ooh.
So it says, what would you tell anyone wanting to start their own business in creative industries? What, give us some insight into that, I guess.
Nancy, that's an awesome question, and I'm glad you're tuning in. I would say, the advice would if you're starting your own business, this is the assumption that you'll probably be working from home. And if you're going to be working from home, you need to treat it like you're actually going to the office. This was a mistake I made in the beginning, which was I would just get up, I would open up my laptop, I would check things out, and I realized I wasn't working for me. I wasn't getting dressed, right? So when you get up, you have to do whatever it is you do in the morning, whether it's your coffee and whatever your morning routine is, but like get dressed, like put shoes on. Even if it's a no-shoe household, like put shoes on, get dressed, and like sit at your desk. Don't be on the couch unless you really want to, but if you've got a desk, create that space so that you can be in that mindset. It's really important to create that environment within your home that has that. So I mean, that's the first thing. And then the other thing is, whatever business you're trying to go into, make sure that you're just connecting to all of the right people and go to as many networking events as you can. And I think that, what you'll find is, Nancy, I don't know if you're in New York or not, you'll let us know.
Yeah, right now.
But if you're in New York, I think New York has a reputation of people being a bit like stiff, and I've found certainly in the wedding industry is people are really accommodating, and like my closest friends in the industry are other wedding planners because we look out for each other and we feel that there's room for everybody. So, whatever you're going for, connect with those people, and I think you will be surprised how many people are willing to offer help, intern someplace. That's what I did. So don't be afraid to intern. I did it at 30 something before I jumped straight in. So just don't be shy about diving in, asking the right questions, surrounding yourself with the right people, and get dressed in the morning.
I think that's good advice. Okay, thank you, Nancy. So I know you talked about that you do 20 weddings in a year. That's what you're sort of keep it at. Do you ever...
I'm having rosé, by the way. I thought maybe it would relax me a little bit.
You want to feel relaxed? We're not that mean. So do you ever do more than one wedding in a weekend, or is it one wedding a week, and how's that work?
I've made a couple exceptions, but no. I will typically try to do it every other weekend. And sometimes, obviously, like in the middle of the wedding season, it gets a little, like October is insane in the wedding industry, and May as well. So those are a little bit difficult to spread apart, but I try not to do more than one in one. I've only done, out of all the weddings I've done, maybe have done that twice. It's just not worth it. I'm not giving the client what they need, my opinion, and I'm not giving myself what I need. I mean, why do I want to? I want the process to be smooth as well for me, and I don't want anything to go wrong. And the other thing too, it's me that you get on the day for my business. It's me you get on the day of. You don't get an assistant. You don't get an associate. So if I have a wedding on Saturday, or if I have a wedding on Sunday, I don't want to have a wedding on Saturday because you're not going to get the best version of me as a wedding planner on Sunday. So no.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're having some crazy thing happen at the wedding. Like, I don't think you want to be doing someone's wedding the next day after the.
Yeah, could you imagine if it was like, I had a wedding the day before that bride OD?
Right, exactly.
I'd just be like, well,
It'd be a little stressful. You'd be more than rosé.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, can I have what you have and where you're at?
Exactly, yeah. So now, tell us a little bit about, you have a new video series called The Wedding Buzz.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, The Wedding Buzz I'm really excited about. I launched the first episode before the year ended, and I did that with David Beam, who is such an incredible, amazing human being. And essentially it's as a wedding planner, because I'm connected to so many different vendors, I think one thing that's missing, and there's two things that was missing, I feel like, in the industry, and it's something you're actually doing here, which is people aren't really getting to know the folks behind the scenes. There's a lot of vendors where people are aware, like for you example, like your cakes are amazing, but do people really know who you are? I'm gonna have to get you on the wedding list. And because there's some really wonderful, incredible human beings that I work with. And so my goal for the Wedding Buzz, it's all done on video. You know, in the age that we're in with social media, I think video's in right now. And so I want to put people in front of the video so folks can get to know who they are. But the catch to this, which is very tricky, is you get it down in 60 seconds. Because we are in the age that we're in with everything, you know, information is so fast. You know, a lot of people may not have time, may not have a couple hours to sit down and listen to an interview. So the goal is to interview them, edit it down to 60 seconds so that on your way to work or on your way to go see, you know, some friends, you can take a look at it, and yeah, it's just a fun little snippet to get to know some folks in the industry.
Yeah, and I watched it. I thought it was really great. And so how do you access it? Let everybody know how they can find it.
You could go to my website, which is joserolonevents.com, and then go to my blog, and you'll see the one with David Beam. Or you can go to Instagram, and that was part of the reason for the 60 seconds, is because, you know, Instagram does their max capacity is 60 seconds, and so I thought, okay, well that's a challenge that I'm willing to take. So on my Instagram business page, Jose Rolón Events, you can find them on there as well. We have quite a few that we've recorded already that we're about to roll out in the next month or so that we're super excited about.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to seeing them.
Yeah.
It was really great, the one that I saw.
Are you going to participate in one?
I will.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm not interesting, but it's only 60 seconds.
We'll make it interesting.
Okay, great. So, so let's see, what else? Oh, by the way, Nancy shouted out to you, and she's asking again, what are the top 2 things that you need for taking care of yourself when owning your own business and balancing your life?
Wow. Nancy, I want to meet you in person, just so you know. If you are in New York, I don't think you've answered that, but if you are in New York, let's have coffee. I would love that. The 2 things that you need to take care of yourself: sleep. If it's possible, I get it, like we're all crazy.
And
but
3 kids, I'm not sure how much sleep you get.
Not a lot, but I do think that sleep is really important. And I think, you know, it's kind of weird, right? So everybody who knows me knows that I eat really like bad shit. Like I love me some, you know, if it's red meat, fried, or dessert, I'm all about it. But I've noticed lately, so what I've done is I've eaten a lot healthier, and I've noticed that that's changed my mood as well, and how I feel. And so, you know, sleep and try to eat relatively healthy. And the other thing, Nancy, is also just to create, really, again, it goes back to creating your own environment. Try to find space to be quiet. And once you have that space, that creative space, then I think you're on your way.
Take time for yourself, really.
Yeah, it's so hard, right? I mean, it's just hard to, especially, you know, we breathe and live on our phones now.
Right.
And I think, you know, it's so funny, we never look up. We don't look up anymore. So that's something I'm trying to be better at in 2017, is to, even though all of you guys right now are looking up,
right,
or you're looking at your whatever devices you're looking at.
Yeah. Thank you, Nancy, again, and you know, take them up on the coffee if you're in New York. So now, besides weddings, do you plan other events?
I have. I've done bar mitzvahs. I have done birthday parties. So I'm open to it. And you know, certainly if it makes sense, then yeah, let's go for it. Let's do it. But typically, you know, weddings, that's my jam. I love weddings for so many reasons, and I get excited about it. I get off on it. It's awesome. So I mean, I've entertained the idea of maybe doing some corporate stuff. Simply just as a father, thinking about, you know, freeing up some more weekends.
Yeah.
And there's something about corporate events, right? Like there's less emotion. attached to that. They just give you a budget and say go. One of my closest friends in the industry, Danielle Babish, she does a lot of wonderful corporate events, and partly for that reason. And she's also a mom. So, but yeah, weddings, that's my jam. I love it. I don't get, and I think because I do 20, and because I also don't do weddings in January and February intentionally, so that I don't burn myself out, and I'm able to just come back into the new season fresh, revived, and excited.
Right, and time with your family, like you said, which is really important.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I think we're sort of wrapping it up now. So at the end of all of these, the main question I ask is, what is, here it is, what is one tip, trick, or secret that you want our audience to take away from this? What's the one thing you want them to, what's the most important and you want them to remember?
I mean, be present. I mean, I think it's really important to be present. This is hopefully it's one-shot deal, and I've had a couple brides who are a bit they're type A personalities, and they're moved to micromanage a little bit, but it results in them not being present, and as it is. Every single bride and groom I've ever had has always said to me, it went by so fast. Whether they're present or not, it just flies by.
Right.
So make sure you're present and just enjoy it. A couple of pieces of advice that I do want to give along those lines of being present is make sure that I always recommend doing a first reveal, and a first reveal is where you get to see each other for the first time before the ceremony. I know that's tradition of seeing each other when you walk, seeing a bride or groom or partner walk down the aisle for the first time. But what happens is, after cocktail hour, you're not enjoying it. You're not even there because you're taking photos, because those need to get done with family and friends, right? So try to do the first reveal, and I love the first reveal because it really is intimate, and it'll be a lot more intimate and personal than you ever imagined it would be. And so do that so that, again, it goes back to being present. You can enjoy cocktail hour fully and just have a good time. I can't stress that enough. Just be present. It's easy. It's not something that comes easy for us, but just do it.
Right, and you're making a life-changing moment.
Absolutely.
And to share it together sounds like it's an important thing.
Yeah, and the other thing I just wanted to add to that before we go is that if you have it within your budget, get a videographer. It's something I used to never recommend, but these videographers out there are doing some really amazing things. And so, because the experience goes by so fast, and because you're gonna have some amazing photos, which is really important, but video does something else and does something special, and it allows you to revisit some of those emotions and some of the, to see people move, to see you move, to hear yourselves, tell vows to each other. You might be numb in that moment and be so not present, and this allows you to kind of go back there and revisit in a way that's just a different way. So if you have it in your budget to get a videographer, do that.
I'm going to tell you that I think that that's really good advice, because my daughter, I wasn't a big fan of videographers either.
Yeah.
And my daughter had her bat mitzvah, and we had somebody video it, and I go back and look at it, and I missed so much, because I was thinking about other things, like you said, you're saying the vows, you're sort of out of it.
Yeah.
So at least you really got to see. I think it's a great piece of advice, so I would definitely take you up on it if you have it in your budget. So, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate all your advice and being open about your family life and your career advice.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. And next week we'll be live again with a lawn artist, someone else who you're...
Love them.
Yeah, see?
Love them.
So please tune in for that Thursdays on wedding tips, tricks, and secrets, because we want to help you plan your perfect wedding.
Cool.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me. This was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.